Hey everybody, JJ here again. I just got done playing drums and I'm very sweaty, but I decided to do another Babble video for everyone today. I'm probably gonna upload these things. Seems like a weekly basis feels pretty good, so I have enough to talk about as well, so it's a never-ending list of subjects to get through. So today, I may have mentioned it in another one of my videos, but a brand of drums has been very near and dear to my heart pretty much the entire time I've been playing drums, which is getting on 30 plus years at this point. So I've never owned a different brand of drums other than this brand. Never even really entertained the idea of getting another brand of drums. There's been nothing that there's other drum sets and companies that are obviously very nice, and you know, I look at Sonor or Sonor, however one chooses to say it. You know, obviously DW and some other brands, but for me, the nearest and dearest to my heart has always been Tama. And this drum set here, this is I guess it's vintage at this point, a Grand Star, Tama Grand Star kit, which was a bird shell drum set that they made somewhere in the mid 80s up until, you know, the early 90s before Tama put out the Star Classic drum sets. Now I have multiple drum sets from Tama. What I've tried to do is get different woods. I don't feel that there's a massive difference. It's just my opinion. I don't feel that there's a massive difference between shells, so much wood. It obviously has some influence on the sound of the drums, but different thicknesses. I think a thicker shell versus a thinner shell has probably at least the same, if not maybe a bit more impact to the overall drum sound, in my opinion. So I never worried too much about technically what the shell was made of, but I was always really drawn to these drums in particular. They're the era that I really grew up, you know, just getting my hands on Modern Drummer magazine and seeing guys like Lars and Dave Lombardo and, you know, a few others that were using Grand Stars in particular, but Charlie Benante from Anthrax. I don't think Stuart Copeland ever got really into the Grand Stars, but previous to the Grand Stars, there was a series of drums that Tama made in the earlier 80s that were called Superstars, which are, to my knowledge anyhow, they're basically the same shells. The Superstars having different lugs, and slightly different hardware anyways, but the shell itself, I believe, was the same material, the same thickness, and more than likely very close in sound as well. So you had drummers like Neil Peart, Stuart Copeland, Simon Phillips, Billy Cobham, just a litany of drummers that were using Tama. And you know, I was about 8 years old when I started playing, so that puts us at the end of the 80s. And I didn't have access, obviously, to you know, the internet, obviously, at that point, so it was mostly music television. So without fail, most of the music I think I was listening to at the time tended to be kind of hard rock or some radio, more radio-friendly material. So even a guy like Joey Kramer from Aerosmith, if you look back into the Permanent Vacation and Pump era of Aerosmith, he was playing Tama, same drums as these, I believe. So to me, you know, I'd see these videos and I would see that logo, and you know, every guy that I liked seemed to be playing Tama drums at the time, and it never even occurred to me that another brand would be in the picture. As I've gotten older, there's obviously a bit more nuance in my taste and things like that. But you can see in the collection of snare drums right there that you know, there's a bunch of different drums over there too, and those happen to all be Tama as well. You could say I'm a fan and a collector, I suppose. So yeah, like I loved, you know, seeing Steve Smith from Journey, or more recently like Danny Carey playing Sonar drums. And to me, those drums, they're almost, I mean, they're fine furniture. There's never been, in my opinion, drums that look better than some of the signature series drums that Sonar was putting out back in the 80s. It was like the Horst Link signature drums. Those drums, in my opinion, I know they sound wonderful, but to me, those are like museum pieces. Think of it like how they used to manufacture fine furniture back 100 years ago. You know, attention to detail and materials and all these things that it's unachievable. There are some definitely high-end manufacturers now, but what Sonar was doing back then, to me, they were equal level to Tama. But I put Sonar into this category where it was almost kind of like unachievable, or, you know, I couldn't quite get my hands on those sets. But these were more kind of a working man's drum set, let's say. And, you know, I was able at one point, I don't know if it's the Grand Stars in particular have become kind of notorious isn't the right word, but recognized for the tone that they have. The thick shells, in my opinion, they're very thick. I've never measured the weight, but it wouldn't surprise me to see if one of these Grand Star bass drums is probably twice as heavy as the Star Classic Maple kit that I have. It's just, I play, you know, if any of you have watched my videos, I tend to play it rather hard. It's just part of my style. I like how it sounds. And these drums, I think because the shells are so thick, I think they actually require a bit of a harder stroke and like a, you know, more inertia kind of thing to really get the wood and the heads kind of vibrating together. And previous to this drum set, the very first drum set I ever bought was a 1975 Tama Imperial Star. It's the same kit that Stuart Copeland would have been using at the beginning of the Police throughout the 70s and probably into the early 80s. His was a midnight blue and mine was more metallic blue. And, but, you know, I guess by today's standards, they were considered to be kind of, not cheap, but they're mahogany, but it's a Philippine mahogany, and a lot of people kind of don't give that the same, it doesn't go up to quite the same level as, say, mahogany that's in guitars and on fretboards and stuff like that. So, but to my ears, the shells are quite thick on those drums as well. They have reinforcement rings. And it's been a long time since I played that drum set, but I bought it when I was 13 years old, and maybe out of everything that's here, that would probably be the drum set that never leaves. These have become my favorite drums to play, the Grand Stars, but that Imperial Star kit is, it's the first drum set I ever bought. I'll never get rid of it. It's not worth very much, maybe to the right collector. But it's massive. It's a 13-piece kit, double bass, 2 floor toms, concert toms, 4 rack toms, and I'm only the second owner of it. I managed to buy it off the original owner about 30 years ago, and it's been in my possession ever since, and I don't see it leaving anytime soon. That being said, I probably won't swap these drums out either. These have proven beyond reliable for me, even though these drums are also approaching 30 years old. Nothing breaks, nothing moves, the hardware is solid. you know, it's just, they're exactly the kind of drums I wanted. I often tell people, even if I had an endorsement for something, I look at a guy like Carter Beauford from Dave Matthews Band, and for years and years and years, he could get any piece of equipment that he wanted, but he had the drum set that he liked, which was an old Yamaha recording custom kit. Same as like Steve Gadd, who's also a Yamaha endorser, had a signature kit made for him, and just never really deviated from it. You find what you like and it works for you, and stay with it. And luckily with this kit in particular, I think, for this video, I'll kind of focus on this drum set. This is the one that's in all my videos, so people might have questions or be interested in it. So I got this drum set for basically nothing. I bought it 2013 and got very lucky. A white Grand Star double bass kit is what I always wanted, and I found one locally. I paid next to nothing for it. Came with a bunch of hardware that I didn't want. It was some DW stuff and some nice hardware, but I had no use for it. So I ended up selling the hardware that came with the drum set for more than I paid for the entire drum set. So essentially I got the core of the white shells that you see around here are part of that original setup that I purchased, and yeah, it cost me nothing. So in the years that I've had this kit, I've kind of added some things here. You can kind of see it. This is a factory 15-inch floor tom, which is, if you know anything about that era, big drums were all the rage, but a 15-inch, I also have a 15-inch rack tom. But the 15-inch floor, I have a better time placing it to my left and playing it for a lot of accents and things like that. So to get my hands, thanks to my friend Johnny, I managed to make a pretty good trade with him, and I got my hands on this, and now that I had this over here and gotten used to it, it's a very welcome addition. It just opened up this side of the drum set for me with my playing and left hand work and things like that. So yeah, factory 15-inch floor tom, which is pretty rare. They just don't show up. I mean, a lot of people make their own out of a rack tom or something like that, but this is factory, so I'm pretty lucky to have this. There's a 12-inch rack tom here, a 13-inch rack tom here. Behind me, 16-inch white floor tom there. This was a later addition that I picked up. Essentially a brand new in the box 18-inch Grand Star floor tom, and yeah, that thing's a beast. And I love big drums. To me, the small sizes are great for certain things, but they just have a hard time with small targets. So having a nice big 12, 13, maybe 14, 15, 16, 18 makes it easy to hit, and I don't miss as often. So, and then this is a pretty special drum back here. This was a part of a large purchase. I bought some Tama Octobonds as well, which I don't really set up too often, but they're cool to have. The Octobonds and this, which is a period correct Tama gong drum. So the shell is birch, which is the exact same as the rest of the Grand Stars. So I was very lucky to find this. Also, only the second owner. I bought this drum from the original owner, pretty much perfect condition. And being a Billy Cobham fan and a Stuart Copeland fan and a Simon Phillips fan, they all had gong drums in their setups. And it's a lot of people get it mistaken where they think that's just a bass drum or a rack tom or something like that. But a gong drum is a whole new instrument, and I won't get into it here. But I like to point that out to people because it's not a bass drum and it's not a floor tom. It's a gong drum. So I might be a jerk about that, but I like to be accurate about things. So, but yeah, the drums. This is I'm not sure the year of this. This was a later acquisition as well, but this is of the period Tama Mastercraft steel snare. I swap a lot of the snares out, and I play them for a while, and I get bored, put something else on, and I'm not that particular. I don't go song to song and try to pick out a snare. I just, whatever I'm in the mood for is what I put up. So this one I've had up for quite a while, and I'm really enjoying playing it, and it's loud and it sounds great, and so there's no reason to swap it out for the time being. So the other thing with Tama, the snares are a little far away. I won't get into those. Maybe I'll do another video with talking about snares separately, but you can kind of see I am running, because I'm a Tama snob, all Tama hardware as well. I've owned items from different companies as well, and once again, there's nothing wrong with them, but for me, the real stalwart of Tama's lineup, and in my opinion, the best cymbal stand ever made, are these ones right here. It's a little hard to see, but if you know them, you know them. They're the Tama HC 104 TB, something along those lines. You know, all the heavy metal guys used them, and they basically weigh about, I think, 12 pounds a piece. You can mount pretty much any cymbal on them at any height. They don't move. These particular ones have a stilt function, so instead of being straight, they tilt towards you, and that really helps with the wobble of the stand. These things, I mean, like, they just don't move. Like, I don't move them, as in I don't ever take them to shows or play live with them, because no one will help me move. Things weigh, there's 150 pounds in stands here, so so this kit is kind of relegated to the studio now, which is fine. I have another kit that is pretty similar that I use for live shows, another white kit, and so I'm happy with that. And then I don't have to worry about this kit getting busted up or, you know, abused and things spilled on it at shows. But yeah, the Tama hardware, I mean, I think the company itself was kind of renowned for hardware before they were drums. I think a lot of the guys back in the day with the, you know, they needed multi-clamps and these complex setups, and to my knowledge, Tama was really kind of the only one making such items. And so they've always been renowned for their high quality and, you know, sturdiness and roadworthiness and things like that. So I've always wanted to get these stands. I have 6 or 7 more of them, and luckily, once again, in an era where nobody wanted big power toms and nobody wanted heavy cymbal stands, everything was supposed to be light and easy to move around, I managed to get these, you know, very affordably, let's say, especially compared to what they cost new, and especially compared to what I've seen them going for online, because with cycles and trends and things like that, I think quality and you know, those things, they always come back around, and you know, people start remembering certain things, good cars or good, you know, good high quality items they had, and I think these stands have kind of started to go into that territory a little bit. Pretty much everything on the drum set is period correct. The hi-hat stand is an older, a legless version. It's nothing too special, but it's a great hi-hat stand, and I don't even know where I got it. It showed up one day, and it's been on ever since. It works great, and I never have any issues with it. I've been playing it for about 10 years now with nary an issue. And yeah, snare stand, like in my opinion, that these pieces of hardware from back then are just, they're over-engineered. They're beyond, like, just, you know, beyond good. They're as good as you could ever really need. One of the only kind of modern pieces I've added from Tama, it's a little hard to see here, but I can tell you, it's a Tama sizzle clutch. And this particular accessory was something that I had hoped and kind of not dreamed about, but imagined in my arsenal for a very long time. I would say probably since I was at least 20 years. For me, with double bass, I never like to have the hi-hat completely clamped down And what I like to have is a little wash. You can see that in the cymbals. They're not sitting 100% of the weight with the 100% of the weight of the top cymbal is not sitting on the lower hi-hat cymbal. It's slightly open in the dropped position. As far as I know, that is the only hi-hat drop clutch that is made that can accomplish this. I like to have the hi-hats loose when I'm playing double bass, but I like to be able to quickly step on the footboard, pick the cymbal back up quickly, like a drop clutch does, and then have accessibility for accents and all that kind of stuff. And one of my favorite things is also to play my left foot bass drum and the hi-hat pedal at the same time. It's such a it adds such an interesting texture to some of the double bass things. I don't really know where I picked that idea up. It might be I heard it somewhere in like a Motley Crue album with Tommy Lee, Red Hot or something like that. It definitely made its way in, and I would hear it, and I just think it's cool. I don't do it all the time, but it is a neat little exercise to play both pedals at the same time, and you know, work out accents and stuff like that. But so yeah, this was the one about Tama drums. I'll probably do another one where I get into maybe my snare drums a little bit, because there's a good variety of them. And it's nothing too boutique or anything like that. I prefer to have players' instruments. And but yeah, what I have, it works for me, and I think it sounds great. And I don't know, give me your opinion. Check out one of my videos and, you know, have a listen to the kit, and I welcome any comments or thoughts or questions. I know a lot of people have kind of started to seek out these drums again, because I do see the prices creeping up for the used market. But yeah, it's there's definitely a good group of people that are as fervent about these particular drums as I am, and we help each other out. And it's a wonderful resource to have, and you can figure things out without having to go back to a catalog from 1989 that's written in Japanese and you can't understand. So yeah, this is the one about Tama drums. Thanks for watching.